My Hero's final chapter is here, and my guy Deku really peaked in high school. Like, bro went from stomping people with One for All to working at a restaurant flipping patties, telling people, have a plus ultra day.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose.
But seriously, Deku lost his quirk, but then got an Iron Man suit that made him stronger than ever. On top of that, he's going full Kowloon in bed with Uraraka, I'm just saying.
Congratulations.
There is a lot to discuss regarding the epilogue and finale of My Hero Academia. For starters, there has been an 8-year time skip. Everyone is now 25 years old. Deku became a hero again with his classmates, he got the girl, he's become a living legend, and also inspired the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call a GOAT. Now let's break down everything step by step. Society has completely changed for the greater good since Deku's heroic victory against All for One, as the entire world witnessed the events. The definition of the word hero now means way more than it did when Deku was a kid. Together, the next generation brought in a new era of peace, which includes Deku sadly losing his powers and becoming a teacher. But before we go into the final chapter, we should contextualize everything that happened, which mainly focuses on how society evolved and characters got their resolutions. Right after the war, America finally arrived and helped with restoration efforts. The heroes from other countries came to assist, as they couldn't just stand back and watch like they did in the freaking war. Like, bro, they watched 16-year-olds basically become child soldiers and force Deku to win the entire fight. However, in the aftermath, the news reporters state that destruction on this scale should have taken decades to rebuild. But with all the heroes coming together and with so many capable quirks, they completed this job much faster. This once again goes into the idea that Deku and his classmates become a symbol for unifying the world. But without Deku, none of this would have been possible. Even in chapter 422 and 423, all of Class 1A admit the influence Deku had on them to aspire to be true heroes and go plus ultra, where together they overwhelmed the final boss, since individually they were not threatening at all. This motif is plastered all over the epilogue, that anyone can be a hero if their intentions are to help humanity, such as a doctor, a teacher, and much more. Bringing us to a big reveal, when Deku transferred One for All to Shigaraki. That was it. The quirks disappeared and is now gone forever. Deku only had the embers left. But this news made Bakugo cry, and we see a major character development. Bakugo witnessed how much being a hero meant to Deku. He saw him break his bones, train non-stop, selflessly risk his life, whilst at the same time getting bullied by none other than Bakugo himself. He feels remorseful, and in reality, he is now Deku's best friend. He wanted to see him carry on as a hero, where both of them could continue competing with each other while saving lives. I mean, chef's kiss to Bakugo's development, I'm just saying. I'm gonna say that a lot this video.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
However, instead of being a bum, Deku puts his experience and knowledge to use, ensuring people don't go through what Shigaraki and the others who were wronged by Hero Society endure. The Todoroki family has reconciled with each other, including Darby, but he is dying by the way. Spinner got his conversation with Deku and is getting his happy ending by writing a book about Shigaraki. In chapter 427, the public revealed their opinions of who he was, deeming him a killer and a terrorist threat. I mean, let's be real for a second, who can blame them? This dude announced to the world he would take over the planet as a dictator, and he murdered countless people. The truth that All for One manipulated everything from the start wouldn't be widespread and would be open to interpretation. As a result, to Spinner, Deku is a murderer, and he holds this burden on his shoulders, even admitting to Uraraka that he has the same thoughts as her, that they have blood on their hands. So as All for One told him, the path they chose is a thorny one. Now get this right, to Spinner, Shigaraki was a ray of hope. He was oppressed by people for being a heteromorph, but Shigaraki allowed him to dream about a better future together and was a hero. Like another reason my guy gave that he was a hero was because he played League of Legends with him, and I even played that game and I know that shit is toxic. I'm just saying. I said it again. Can I say it? I'm kidding. I'm gonna stop saying that now. So out of spite, Spinner says his book will make them never forget about Shigaraki, and he will preach about it like gospel, as history is written by the victors. So they will forget about what they did and smile again as if it didn't happen. And he doesn't want that for Deku especially. Wait, man. This guy should be in jail, bro. He's out here talking like an extremist. Like, imagine supporting fascism and then going around college campuses trying to get them to believe it. Luckily for Spinner though, 8 years later, Shoji has inherited his will, doing everything he can to stop discrimination against their kind. Eventually, the rest of Class 1A graduate and are now popular pro-hero, with Bakugo and Todoroki competing for the #1 spot. But the thing is, the system has completely changed for the better. In chapter 429, All Might and Hawks work together to abolish the popularity aspect in the ranking system. Instead, it will be based on merit. For example, before, Mount Lady was quite vain and used her sex appeal to further her popularity by twerking her ass to the masses, and they're like, oh, subscribe to her OnlyFans. You get my drift. But now that it won't fly anymore. Eventually, we get this huge montage of moments that are just shown to us, but would have been really cool to see as actual chapters that gave us a bit more time within this world and brought everything to a nice close. On top of that, Horikoshi completely ignores one of the biggest overarching plot thread in the series, the quirk singularity, which isn't addressed at all. Quirks blend and evolve, producing stronger and more complex powers as time goes on. However, with this increase, the quirks will also become more difficult to control, since the human body doesn't evolve quickly enough to keep up. That's a big problem that has been stated multiple times to be a world-ending crisis. And unless My Hero is making a sequel, it's just a lingering plot device that's never going to get a resolution. Unless the technology that was revealed will solve the problem, as that is insinuated by Horikoshi by the end. Oh, and remember Deku's dad? Horikoshi literally told us he's Hisashi Midoriya, but he's basically joined the club of deadbeat fathers in anime. He still hasn't shown up. So you're probably wondering now, is Deku and Uraraka ship sailing? Did he finally Detroit Smash? Or did it crash and burn? Just like this. Well, I'm happy to say that in my humble opinion, it's pretty much confirmed. In chapter 429, Deku came to Araraka's aid when she was grieving over Toga, wishing she could have met her when she was a kid to save her life, as she was ostracized by society for being a weirdo due to her quirk. Obviously, this is a very similar situation to Deku and Shigaraki, and it's here where Izuku Deku basically confesses his feelings. He instantly had a feeling that she was upset and went back to the hill that was mentioned in chapter 342, where Deku thanked Uraraka for her speech and brought him back from his depressed state. Remember, Deku was complimenting her non-stop, but they mutually agreed about their outlook on life and how they should reform society together. This directly links to Deku claiming now that Uraraka is his hero, and talks about how she's helped him throughout everything, even when she stopped him from falling when they first met. Now let's address the elephant in the room. It's a big one. Many fans believe Uraraka's crush was gone at the moment he turned quirkless, but I don't think that's the case. There are multiple moments where she confesses to loving him, displayed on your screen right now. So in the final chapter, the two are talking while snow is falling, which is probably a date. This is because in one of My Hero Academia's art books, Horikoshi states that snow adds a serene quality to a scene, enhancing its romantic aspects like calmness, whilst also making it more rememberable. On top of that, 8 years later, Uraraka's new hero costume has a mask inspired by Deku's, looking like his original one. Of course, he would be retired at this point since he didn't have the technological hero costume that All Might gives him later. So with that retired costume, she probably took a sentiment of it while she's out on the job, right? Like, bruh, if they aren't together, then Deku is just some loser who fumbled the bag and is There's no other way around it.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
A lot of fans have grievances with this one line, that Deku said he hasn't seen his friends much since graduation, due to everyone being so busy with pro hero work, which doesn't look good since bro lost his quirk and then got ghosted by all his friends. Come on, you can't defend that, right? But let's be real here, the only reason this wasn't confirmed by Horikoshi is just because he didn't want to deal with the backlash. My Hero has a very, very passionate shipping fanbase, right? He's gotten several death threats on Reddit, Tumblr, Twitter, and a ton of other websites. Just look back at the situation when he named the doctor something wrong that was controversial, he got death threats. So in order to prevent discourse, he just left us subtle hints instead. But now, with Hapuki, Deku encouraging her, Uraraka has become a pro hero that visits schools for hero quirk counseling projects. It's become an essential aspect of society, aimed at helping people like Toga and Tenko. I mean, even before this new age, people started waking up to the fact that they left everything to the heroes. Like, remember that old lady who didn't help Shigaraki, which caused his downfall and being manipulated by All For One? Yeah, well, she got a redemption in chapter 429, helping a kid with an evil quirk who went through a very similar situation to our main villain. If he didn't get help, he would have just ended up like another Shigaraki. But she remembered that boy, and despite not knowing Shigaraki became the person who almost destroyed the world, she still realized she made a mistake in not helping him. And so, the granny offers her hand to the boy, bringing the story full circle that everyone can reach their hands out to help, just like the greatest heroes. The dude even joins UA later in the 8-year time skip, being in the same class as Kota and Deku being his sensei. This is where we are introduced to Deku, who's become a teacher for the next generation. He's spreading knowledge and shaping them for the better, despite everyone knowing he's a little bummed out about it. Even when Aizawa asks him if he's lonely, Deku states it's fine, that this is the life he has and he's content with it. He wants to help any way he can. He even asks Aizawa, can you tell me that I'm cool? And Aizawa just blanked him and said, bruh, you need to be harsher for your students. Anyways, of course, his students include Kota, the kid he saved against Muscular at the summer camp arc, where he declared Deku his hero, and now he's one of his students. Remember, Deku is still seen as a living legend, just like All Might, so he's heavily respected. I mean, bro, just imagine you're getting ready for your first day at school, and you walk in to see that your teacher is the Deku. Like, the kids who look up to him are starstruck by being just in his mere presence.
That's why he's the GOAT!
Finally, Deku finishes writing the journal we've been hearing him narrate since the beginning of the series, with the same line that started it all. All men are not created equal. However, due to everything that's happened in the story, that statement has changed. Now, it's not everyone is created equal, but people can come to understand each other's differences, finding a middle ground that allows us to move forward. It really shows us how, and say it with me for the final time, the moral dichotomy of My Hero Academia. It has changed in these past 8 years. People are finally coming to an understanding, no longer having different viewpoints that, you know, results in an all-out war. Deku goes on to talk about how caring for others is the first step of becoming a hero, like how he rushed to help Bakugo against the slime villain. It was Deku's compassion to help anyone, even a bully like Bakugo, which made him stand out. It wasn't for numbers, popularity, or recognition. He did it because it was the right thing to do. All Might saw that, and it gave birth to the hero who saved the world. This is reflected in another middle school classroom where we follow Dai, that random kid from a while back who now has the same dream as Deku, to be a hero. However, that meaning has changed, as when the teacher asks the kids what they want to be, they say a hero. But they aren't talking about a flashy costume, cool powers, and beating up villains. The kids state they could be helping to create hero gear in the support teams, becoming doctors, and stuff like that. A hero is someone who extends a helping hand to others following Deku's philosophy. The whole idea that everyone can be the greatest hero is literally shown with the All Might statue. Once it stood as a memento to a society overly dependent on them, especially All Might, but now the statue is filled with everyday people. And yeah, Deku should be there too. I don't know why he isn't. Come on, Horikoshi, you had to give him that at least. However, there are people who still want to be a pro hero, like Dai, but it's become even harder than before. Crime rates are at its lowest and are down, and hero numbers have stabilized, meaning you only have a real chance to break through into the industry if you have a really good quirk. And let's look at Dai's quickly. Oh, it's making plates out of his head, bro. Oh my god, bro.
You serious?
Yeah, not exactly the type of quirk needed for combat, but to be fair, some of Class 1A had some pretty weird ass quirks like Minata, who just happens to be a pro hero and achieves something, but his classmates think Dai has no chance. So who does this remind you of? Deku. And this parallel between the two only continues with both him and Dai attempting to save a child when they're walking home. Deku is the one to actually catch the kid, and Dai falls to the ground just like our goat. Deku comes to make sure he's okay, and a very similar scene plays out. Dai, upon seeing the man he heavily looks up to and respects, asks a question: can I become a hero like All Might and you? After yapping a while, without hesitation, Deku states, you can become a hero. Like we said, Deku is sad that his dream is done, but he gets to give other people dreams now too. And so, with those words of encouragement, Dai now believes he can be a hero, and with a smile on his face, Deku is proud to see how even without a power, he can help others. And that's how My Hero ends. Yeah, no, it don't end like that. We still have some pretty important stuff to cover, as All Might, who I won't lie has definitely seen better days as he's aged very badly, he has a gift for Deku, his very own Iron Hero suit, as we see him alongside his classmates ready to fulfill their job as pro heroes. Before we talk about how strong this suit really is, I want you to all think about something. Unlike the heroes of the past who acted in their own self-interest, Class 1A spent almost a decade saving up their own money and spending it to allow Deku to once again live out his dream. Bakugo, out of all people, was the center of it, to get this suit made for his best friend, where they all kept it a secret. Like, I know we're all clowning that Deku got ghosted, but that is simply not true. I wish I had more friends this selfless and caring, fam. They clearly still met up with him, and being an adult myself, I'm telling you, having a full-time job and a family ain't easy to juggle a social life. Of course, you're gonna see if your schedules line up with your friends in your free time, but that's just how life is when responsibilities increase. Anyway, with my rant over, this is like a suit All Might once had. One of the richest people in the world who spent his entire fortune on to develop. You have geniuses like Hatsume and Melissa Shield out there who could easily make him a suit like this. So it was only a matter of time before technology caught up to the power of quirks. This thing looks awesome and is even better than the one All Might used during the final war. It was created over the course of 8 years, using the footage of All Might's mecha fight against All For One to create support items that work almost like One For All. Not even a minute later, Kachan shows up and tells Deku it's time to go. Now you're probably asking, ABD, how can Deku be a hero when he just has an Iron Man suit? Well, let me remind you that All Might's suit was able to go toe-to-toe with Prime All For One, and All Might held his own for quite a while. Not to mention it gave him super strength, a version of Black Whip, charge bolts, and over 15 other super OP support quirk type powers. Not to mention, All Might wasn't physically in the best shape. He was a twig due to his previous injury. Meanwhile, Deku is in his 20s. He's at the prime age of his life and has probably still kept up with his workout routines. suits, meaning he's extremely fit. And with this suit, he's probably 100% back to where he was when he had base 1 for all. On top of that, he knows how to handle multiple quirks, and due to his big brain power, he can easily get back to his peak with just this suit, like All Might claims in the finale, allowing Deku to compete with Bakugo and Todoroki for the #1 spot. So yeah, whilst Deku didn't get his quirk back, I think this is a nice finale. It shows that being a hero is more than, well, being like All Might. But Deku did so much for the world, he gave up on his dream. So this is a nice way to reward the character for everything he had done. Like All Might said, he earned this power. And honestly, it's really awesome to see him finally get to live out his dream with everyone. And getting Uraraka in the end, depending on your interpretation, I'm saying she did, right? My Hero has been a series we've covered for years on this channel, so it's sad to see it go. But we're happy that Horikoshi got to end the series on his own terms. And whilst it's not perfect, it wraps up the characters and themes in a nice way. But if you want to experience more peak fiction, watch this video about Yuji Itadori, where his power has equalized to Sukuna and he's become enlightened and honored.